What's going down? It's your boy, MileHigh, tuning back in. Or not tuning back in. This is our first interview, actually. We got Krysta Jones with us today. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. We've got her accompanied by Devaney and Rob over here. I met Rob a couple times. He's actually a part of Silverstem, right? Yeah, cool.
Silverstem.
But yeah, shout out to them. I just wanted to make the acknowledgement that they were here. But today is all about Miss Krysta Jones here, who happens to be a good friend of mine. I've known her for close to 10 years now, I think.
It's been a minute.
Yeah, I'm about to say she's actually a big reason why I've actually been able to find myself in a lot of these opportunities, because she helped me guide me into my career choice, which was cannabis, and is hers as well. But let's kind of get into this, man. So let's get to know Krysta Jones and what you do. What is your cannabis industry background?
Shoot, I'm actually been in the industry since 2009, and just been,
Scoot up to the mic a little bit.
hopping around roles. In the beginning, I started, within the dispensary realm, and then in the grow and cultivation, and a little bit of marketing and branding more recently. So
right, and let's go back and touch on to like the back of the house stuff, the grow and trimming and all that stuff, because that's actually kind of where you helped me get into and start my career as well, was in the back of the house, like being a trimmer. I remember the first 2 jobs you got me was trimming by the pound, which you were like the only person on the planet that I could find that could actually find and like secure these types of jobs. And then it was a trim company that's no longer around, which ended up, leading me into a lot of other things. What was the most significant part of that time of your life that kind of led you into the branding and marketing? Because I know that wasn't always your interest.
right, yeah, no, definitely. When we met, it was the market in the industry was very new. Everything was it was like the green rush, and there was a huge sector of the industry that it was harvesting, production, really, a huge lack of oversee in product fulfillment within the industry that me and my team really saw value in, which was harvesting, trimming the finished product. So we began to really focus on that and really pivot and make a way for ourselves where we were able to establish ourselves valuable more than others. So
Right.
that's why we
created
found,
resources.
yeah, so we were able to establish ourselves for pound production work instead of the typical hourly work that you find today, where it's like $10 an hour, $15 an hour. People really don't care about what the hell they're doing. I put together a team that was really progressive and motivated, and that way we really were able to pivot and make a name for ourselves in the industry.
Right.
So that's how we met. I really brought him along, and I was able to mold a team together that really found value in being able to build a name for the industry. Even though it was just cannabis, we took it more serious than the average person.
Right. Facts. And that's big facts, because I definitely got to witness that transition kind of like firsthand, with you kind of taking the lead with, going and finding these places and having these relationships built, and then, extending the arm out to people, or the olive branch, if you will, to be like, hey, I got something over here for you,
Right.
because I got to, like I said, personally be a part of that. So that kind of, I guess, is a perfect way to transition into the next question, because you started talking about working for yourself essentially in that, and figuring out that you could work for yourself and make, this happen. So what was the pressing point where you were like, you know what, I'm going to work for myself. I'm going to figure out how to make money off of this and be sufficient on my own and create something that I can call mine?
Basically within the industry, everyone's so excited. Everyone really wants to be in it. No one really cares the stipulations. No one cares what they have to do. They're just down,
Facts.
and
No, you're not lying.
yeah, it's just crazy what people will do to get in the industry, So just being able to just know what I really wanted to get out of it, and just being able to establish myself and just have the work ethic behind it.
Right.
A lot of people in this industry just are lazy stoners. You know what I mean?
You're not lying.
They
I'm
just
sorry
wanna
to
play
say,
with weed,
I got to agree with their, I've been managers and done some things as far as like running grows and stuff. And there really are. You get the people who really want to learn. And
It's not a great pool of candidates.
Look, Rob knows. So yeah, like the reality is that there's far more people that aren't here for the right reasons than there are people who are here for the novelty factor of just being able to be like, hey, I'm a legal drug dealer, like
I play with weed.
yeah, like that
That's just
title and
annoying.
that idea, like suffices them, and it is annoying because when you're really trying to like build a business or a brand, those people don't necessarily help. They're good to have as far as like just that minuscule work and stuff, but they don't help with the overall larger picture, you know. But so yeah, let's go ahead and get into some of these brands that you have dealt with, whether in the past, currently, still, you know, working on the relationship, and you know maybe what are some of those companies that you've had the or that have had the pleasant or the pleasure, I should say, not the pleasant, the pleasure of being able to work with you and your team and benefit from it, or not, you know, like what are some of these companies or situations that you found yourself in over the years that, you know, you can speak on?
One of the biggest places I held a significant role was legal. That's one of my home bases. I worked
Dispensary.
I was actually in the grow. I was production manager was my role at the time. I really just came in and got them caught up where they needed to be, and then I pivoted on the next project. But doing so, I still had them as one of my big homes. We created a sustainable grow. They're clean green certified. We took pride in doing everything really organic practices and such. So that was really one of the big, one of my huge backgrounds that I really take pride in. Other than that, I worked, all over Denver. I've seen a lot. I've seen, the best of the best. I've seen the worst of the worst. And it's been a great learning experience to see what everyone does and to be able to manipulate it into what I want and construct it into something that's going to really be valuable. And that's kind of what my secret sauce has evolved into, is just learning and strategically seeing what doesn't work and what works and how to maneuver and pivot in the market, as it was very new and immature. Yeah. And even being in a more mature market and seeing how it's continuing to evolve. But yeah, legal was really significant. I worked at Trill for a while. They were really cool.
Yeah, I remember you championing them for a while. I remember those days, yeah.
I worked at, I've worked at so many different places. Good Chemistry was a huge support back in the day. A couple of these places really gave me my start of really supporting me in the marketing aspect and just, enabling me to be their voice. It kind of constructed into what I have today.
Nice. So. Nice. Yeah, I can definitely vouch for a lot of what she's saying. There's a lot of truth to that. Like as far as how she's helped these companies and came in and, brought them to a new level. Because I've witnessed it again with my own two eyes. So it's really dope to have you sitting here. And I definitely understand why you've been recognized for, your business ventures and, the respect that you've, gained and created within this space for yourself. So let's talk about, because I think that kind of gives a basic sum up of, different brands that you've worked with and kind of what you're capable of doing there. And actually, before we get off that, what was the company that took you away from Colorado? Because you were in Oregon for a long time. And you come back every so often, but it seemed like when you came back, you were more and more busy. Yeah, Oregon was like a really big step for you in like the Krista Jones lifeline and storyline for, in my opinion, because it came out of nowhere. Like it was just kind of like one day you were here building, your brand and your presence, and then the next it was like, I'm going to Oregon. Like it was like, whoa, well, what do you mean you're going to Oregon? And it was like really quick. Like I feel like within months of us figuring out that you were gone, mm-hmm. And that, like, you know what I'm saying? So like who was that took you away? What was that whole venture like? And then we'll kind of move on from that whole situation. But
sure. It was an experience. I got recruited to be the director of cultivation for a 35,000 square foot greenhouse out in Oregon City. I went there when it was not even finished. The building and the manufacturing of the actual facility wasn't even done. And I basically got there. I was just thrown into a whole bunch of different roles. I really helped with project management and the fulfillment of the build out of the actual facility, and just stepped into really almost a CEO type role and just kind of was really nimble, just popped around. And then 6 months after being there, finally the production was done. And that's when I stepped into my role of director of cultivation. We really just established them as 10% of the market in Oregon. We connected them with acquisitions to really fulfill, vertical integration, mm-hmm. and stuff like that. So after finishing that project, I just really have been focusing on consulting and going all in on my THC Girls company that I started in 2014.
Right.
So it's been a blessing to have experienced that and then just have the confidence to pivot where I'm at.
For sure. Yeah, that's definitely like super encouraging, I feel like, for people to hear. Because it's a scary thought to leave everything that you know to go and step in and try to fill shoes that were never really there. Right? Like to know that, because I didn't realize the extent of like that situation until right now, actually. Like I knew you were going for a job opportunity. I knew that it was, you know, something to do with cultivation and, you know, that type of stuff. But I never really asked you, you know, really why or what it was. You know, I just kind of always was like, cool, you know, I respect it. I appreciate it. You know, hopefully it all works out. So to kind of know, like, you know, you left everything you knew and had built here with like hopes and dreams of kind of replicating that somewhere else, I think is like inspiring, you know, because a lot of people are scared to leave or take the opportunity to pursue chances, including myself.
It's scary.
Like, yeah, for sure.
Scary.
Like, you know, I know off the top of my head, I can think of at least 2, maybe 3 opportunities that were out of state that I turned down because of that fear of uprooting everything that I have built here.
Right.
So, you know, to like know that it can work is very inspiring. So let's go ahead and kind of wrap up about Krista so we can really get into THC Girls, because that's the bread and butter here and what I feel like, you know, why I really wanted to bring you up here. But what's next for Krista Jones outside of what you are already doing now, and explain what the move to Florida is all about.
Shoot, just you know, I love staying ahead of the industry, ahead of the curve. Florida's a newer market. That's why we actually went to Oregon. We actually got approached by investors to establish where, when, and why for that Oregon project. So,
oh, nice.
We went there to get ahead of the market. The market had just went wreck. So our intentions with going to Florida, I'm actually from there.
Yeah, I know that too. Yeah,
a lot of connections. There's a lot of money there. You know, and them not going wreck just yet is just all the more better for us. So we're just, again, staying ahead of the curve with that move. So
yeah, nice. And that's cool, because that helps you, especially with what you do. It kind of gives you a foothold into the market as it's developing, where you can kind of be a key player in why the market develops, right? Or how it develops, which is super dope. And I think a lot of people have to kind of take that approach a lot more when they're trying to not only just expand their businesses, but especially in the new startup space. Like if you're not trying to be ahead of the curve, you're behind. You're playing catch up. So that's dope. Let's get into THC Girls. All right. So who are the THC Girls? I'm sure everybody's wondering. We keep mentioning it. We keep talking about it. But here is like a basic mission statement off of their website. I didn't come up with this. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? But let me go ahead and read this off to you. So the THC Girls is a full-service branding, marketing, and advertising agency that scales organizations in the cannabis industry. They leverage 20 years plus of combined experience to empower like-minded industry professionals, cultivating authentic, holistic growth and helping brands hit their highest potential. So when I hear that or read that, it literally tells me that you do everything. You know what I'm saying? Like,
good.
You know, knowing that, like, what it takes to brand and market a company in this space, you almost have to know a little bit of everything and, you know as much as you can about every aspect of the business, inside and out, the products, you know, have resources to be able to expand on that type of stuff with the branding and marketing, because you can only do so much without asking for help, or at least bringing people on to expand on that narrative, right? So it definitely, to me, just says you guys do everything. From like, oh, we can come in and consult for you, and we can come in and help you just brand and market, and we can help you do, point A to Z. Like, I think there's really no other way to put it. So, and who do they work with, I think, you know, is really important, because they do everything. When we say cannabis industry, I think a lot of people don't realize that you can kind of just say anything that's related to cannabis, whether it's hemp or, you know, anything like that. Like, it's all in your world, essentially, really? Right? So, like, you can do it all, which is super dope, because there's definitely a market for all three, hemp, CBD, THC. So to be able to be that diverse, I feel like is really important, and why you guys have been so successful and will continue to be successful. So let's kind of get into that a little bit. What are some of the THC hemp, projects or whatever that you have kind of got going on right now that you can talk about as far as what the THC Girls are working on?
We have a couple clients that we're working with right now. One in particular is a shisha product that we're about to drop. We've helped them come up with a whole entire, from all they had, it was a concept and a thought. We're bringing it full on to the market. Logo, branding, everything implemented. So we'll be dropping that product here in the next month, and we're very excited about that. No tobacco, no THC, no bullshit. So we're really excited about that. We have a couple of CBD clients that we're really helping navigate through the industry. It's very oversaturated, which we're familiar with from working with THC. So very similar trends. We're helping with them do that. We actually have THC clients from dispensary in Portland and a couple other people that we're working with. And a lot of it is just stuff that we learned over the years, just strategically seeing everybody, the trends that happen and just being able to implement them in other companies. Right,
for sure. And see, and that's exactly why, with your guys' mission statement and what we were just talking about, why exactly what you just said was, holds weight and it's true. Because you can literally take the same information or learning experiences from one and apply to, another one, because they're all kind of headed down the same pathways. You know what I'm saying? CBD is not quite as regulated as it should be, but it's heading there,
Neither was cannabis, though. Cannabis wasn't at first either, and it's the same.
Right, and so that's what I'm saying. They definitely have a very similar path of how they actually kind of rolled out to the general public and how the business is kind of transitioned into doing business, right? As loopholes closed, people had to be more creative and figure out how to do things the right way and not take shortcuts. So to have that type of experience in your guys' corner to offer people is dope. And so that kind of gets into why, or the next situation, the next question, the different services that you guys offer. Like there's obviously different levels. I was on your guys' website. Anybody wants to check it out, it's thcgirls.com or the High Country Girls.
The High Country Girls.
Yeah, I always mess it up. I always said county, but it's highcountrygirls.com. And you can kind of get all this stuff that I was talking about. You can kind of see everything, the basic layout. But you have 3 different service tiers that I saw on here. And those were Elevate Higher, Weedo, and Best Buds. What is the difference between these 3 different services?
Shoot. So, the We Do program is basically we do everything, full on operations.
We do. Hey, hold on. I'm sorry.
Do it all.
When I read that, I was like, she's going to have something clever to say about this. Because I was like,
it's all cannabis. And,
I was like, I see the weed part.
We do.
But we do. I was like, there's something to this we do. Like, it's not just we do. That's so funny. Okay.
So we do it all. We do all your operations. We implement it, organize it, set the foundation.
Right.
That's the We Do program. Elevate Higher. Everyone thinks that they're ready for Elevate Higher, but a lot of people aren't at that position. So that's when we have to revert to the We Do. But the Elevate Higher is when really a company has just got the foundation and really needs to take off, connect with the community and make them sales. So that's what that one's for. And then the Best Buds is just continuous consulting where we establish a goal and we work with you weekly to accomplish those goals and continue to pivot from there.
So that's dope. So because when I was looking at it, like they definitely have implications where you can like individualize like services to people or companies, right? But I was really curious to ask, and you actually just answered the question, if there was like a tier situation where you could kind of like almost push them from one tier to another, or like how you said, where if someone felt like they were at point, C, but they were really at point A still, like you could, be like, no, let's go here first and do this. And, and kind of guide them through all of the services, which is dope because that allows you to capitalize it as, maximum, right? Make the most money out of that situation, plus make the best out of that situation as far as relationship and everything else and rapport. So that's fire. But I want to backtrack just a little bit because I missed the question that I think I really wanted to ask, and I think people really want to know. Where did the inspiration for THC Girls come from? Like, obviously, you have your cannabis background. You have, you know, the ample amount of networking connections that you've built over the years. But I think there's a more interesting story there because I know there is, because I remember the conversations on porches, you know, where we talked about these types of things. And I was just like, why don't you have some sort of, you know, shot girl service situation? And I just remember like from that conversation on, like you took off.
Yeah. No, at first I was starting a THC tour company. You know, I was in the grows and I'm like, damn, I can show people this, you know, like I just let everybody get me to show people this, you know.
That's fire. I remember that.
Yeah, I was dope. I was all about it. But the thing is, the dispensaries actually took that as a way to bring in marketing to facilitate free tours. You know what I mean? So until I learned that, I was actually trying to promote a tour company, which was the THC tour company. You know, we did tours and stuff like that. We had hosted events and, you know, we had a couple of things going on like that. And from promoting those events, I really saw that there was a huge void in the industry as I was getting sponsors and working with all the places that I was working at. You know, they were like, yeah, they really took interest in me marketing for them. And that's when I really took value in, oh, okay, I'm going to make a marketing company called the THC Girls. So from there, I just moved forward. I LLC'd it and I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I was just like, whatever. I got something here. Shit, let's do this. You know. So
yeah, that's dope. So, and that kind of answered the next question I had. I was going to ask you if you feel like you always had a knack for branding, because I feel like low key, without realizing it, you kind of had this ability to brand or bring people together, but you never really harnessed or like pinpointed that you did it.
Yeah, I never realized it, and then I started, like, you know, I'm in my mid-20s and I'm going out and I'm doing, you know, I'm going to the club or I'm going to events.
Bottles and tables.
Even the service tiers are branded. It could have just been bronze, gold, and silver.
Right.
She's elevated.
It's such a natural thing for her that I don't think she realized it.
Right.
I didn't. It took a minute, and then I was like, why the hell? You know, what is going on here? Like, why me? Why are these people asking me for shit? You know what I mean? I'm like, what are they doing? And then I saw the value and I was like, oh, okay, you know, I'm marketing for them. I'm doing their job, you know, and really putting two and two together on how to accomplish what I needed to do and utilizing the resources I had. Facts. And that's just really what the THC Girls has evolved into, is just me putting two and two together and connecting the dots.
Right.
So
that's so dope. Because like I said, I've known you a long time, and when I talk back or look back on all the situations that I've found myself with you involved, it was always there was always a trend. If you look back, right? Like even when we went to the clubs, it was me, you, and maybe like one or two other people who would like have this like conglomerate, like, oh, like let's make the best of this situation and like work together so that we could all have fun rather than just me having fun. And I think that was like the first sign of like that ability of you being able to bring people together, because I was new to that whole club scene at that time. Like the first time I went to the club actually was with you and like Lee, and like that was the first time. Like it was my 21st birthday. You know what I'm saying? I remember it. But yeah, so like I got a really great introduction to like how to bring people together in like really, I don't want to say weird or unique, but just like, I don't know, in a way that it benefited everybody. Right. Because I feel like that's what your goal always was. Like it was never selfishly motivated. It was always with the intention of like networking, bringing people together. And even like when we would go to the club, I remember you just like always having a name for like what we were doing. It was just like always like some little like, oh, we're gonna go do this tonight, or we're gonna go out to this little situation, and it'd be like, what are you talking about? But it sounds fun, let's do it. You know what I mean? So I think that it's definitely something you've always had a knack for that you just didn't realize. And maybe even a lot of us around you didn't realize, but we all gravitated to you because of it. Because there was always a positive intent to bring people together. You were, like I said earlier, you were always extending your hand in a way to, you know, uplift or bring somebody with you or along for the ride. You know, you were never afraid to share information or give back to people that were around you. So that's something that, you know, I really appreciated about you. And the whole situation that you've built, because I think without that rock that you've kind of become for that situation, it wouldn't have been able to work.
Right.
You know, like the relationships you've built, the networking that you know, went out and did, and the footwork and everything that you've laid in place was important, you know, for
Extremely.
the success of this whole situation moving forward. So let's get into the more fun parts, right? The fun parts about, because that was, you know, we had to get that off chest and let that be known, you know, get all that out. But let's get into what THC Girls kind of first got known for in the beginning, right? Because when I first would hear about the THC Girls, most people would have never associated that with consulting,
Right.
or advertising and branding necessarily. But what they did associate it with was all the, you know, attractive women that you have around you at all times, doing different sort of no, you're all good, Rob. Doing all sorts of it's okay, it's a stoner podcast. But no, so I remember all the little parties that you would be a part of, whether you threw them or you were just kind of like, you know, a service that was called upon, the shot girls, the modeling service stuff, you know, all of that is what, when I would hear about you guys, most people would be like, yo, they had the dopest parties. They had the dopest girls. Like, what? Like, have you heard of them? Like, yeah, I know them. Like, you know what I'm saying? But it was like, it was very intriguing that was like something that people really gravitated to, because no one else was really doing it,
Right.
at least here in Colorado, the way that you were. So what is still going on with that side of things? I know there's still THC Girls. I know you use them for modeling and branding purposes and stuff now. But what else does that world entail for you right now?
We're still very, very much a part of really the urban community is what we like to really address ourselves. It's not just cannabis. It's just more so, you know, everybody, the urban entrepreneur, whether it's a stylist, a nightclub, you know, a brand, we work with everybody. And we really started working with, you know, crossing and commingling brands with the nightlife and with artists and lifestyle and mixing and commingling the two. And that's really how we started to thrive.
Right.
You know, and that's really how we brought a very big, diverse, creative group, is that everybody does all this different shit, but we all come together, whether it's to have a good time or to smoke or just to be, you know, productive and positive together, and just providing that kind of community to be around people. You know, it's hard to find that kind of group. So it really didn't matter who or where it was. But yeah, we were all young. We're in the nightlife, you know, we all like to go out. We like to go and socialize. So a lot of it started within the nightlife and taking the brands and the companies that I worked for. And I'm wearing that stuff and repping it when I go out. It just molded into something bigger. Yeah,
facts. And I'm glad you said that, because that's actually, I was hoping that you would say that, was the lifestyle part. Because that's what I think THC Girls represents more than anything, is a lifestyle. Rather than a consulting or anything. I think those are just services and things that you've been able to brand off of the lifestyle that you've created,
100%.
right? Like the intention that you, like I said, had always had from the beginning was bringing people together and showing them a way of life or interaction that they may not have been used to, familiar with, comfortable with, or whatever. But it was always this positive, just like good intent and like this good lifestyle situation that I feel you were kind of always like preaching. Yeah. So that's to me what THC Girls represents. Like when I say or hear, that's why it's like, it's weird to say some of the things that you do, like as far as the services, like it's super dope because I understand it from a business standpoint. But from just being a fan of you and your brand, you know, it's definitely more of a lifestyle that you guys portray and, you know, I feel like sell to people, which is dope.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. But another question for you. Here's we're gonna get, before I ask that question, how many girls approximately do you have? And if there were anybody who was interested in applying, how would they do so?
So as far as THC Girls on the team, I've really limited what I've been doing as far as adding the actual staffing portion, because there's really two parts of what I do. I have the staffing portion and I have the consulting side, which Sanja actually helps me very significantly within the projects and the consulting.
If you want to shout out her podcast too, you're more than welcome.
Yeah, the Sanja Ganja Show. So that's Sanja. She's my right hand in all the consulting. We kill it with all that stuff together. a huge part of everything I do with that. As far as the staffing of the girls, we have girls, you know, we have a few of our girls that were in the team previously from, you know, just a handful in every city, basically. Right. More of the mature states, more so than the newer states coming online. We've really put a hold on adding to the team as we've really focused, putting every focus into developing the app. The app is really going to streamline the staffing, really directly connect the vendors and the models together and take me out of the equation.
So you can do what you have to do.
So, yeah.
Yes. I like that. And yeah. Since you touched on the app, we'll go ahead and just kind of get that out of the way too.
Yeah.
What is the app that you're dropping? What is the purpose of it? What do you intend for this to do with your business? And what do you want to accomplish overall with this app?
So the app is going to be a freaking lovely tool for people across the industry and the space to really connect directly, whether you're a multi-million-dollar company or whether you're a smaller amateur coming in and getting developed and you want to do trade work, or if you want to pay top dollar for the high-end model, there will be a variety of people that know how to do services. There'll be a rating system so you know what you're getting for it. Just like Google, everyone will be very held accountable. That goes for vendors as well, because everyone wants to work with serious people. That way everyone takes this very serious as a job. So we're really gearing towards just creating and streamlining that. And from there, molding and building within the models and the vendors. So we'll eventually evolve into where we're consulting and streamlining through there as well. But for right now, it's just going to really be staffing. All focused on staffing. If you need someone to pop up right now, you hop on, bang.
Right. Okay. So what it sounds like to me, the app biggest intention is more or less to become a way to streamline that content, that the media powerhouse that you've kind of become as far as creating content opportunities is kind of what that kind of does, is streamline and take you out of it so you can do, you know, the other things that are kind of becoming more important for THC. That's fire. I like that. And I think that's a good approach to an app, because a lot of people try to do apps, including myself. It's still being worked on, but they're hard, you know. And unless you have a solid like plan and of attack and execution for the app, like you can really just spend a lot of money going down a rabbit hole.
Yeah, I've spent 6 years learning what I need this app to do.
Right, yeah.
So
I'm in year 3, I think, now. So
I'm just monetizing everything that I do. You know, when I currently get reached out to, I connect with who's in that area, and I coordinate and I manage the shoot or the event, whatever the girls are hired for. You know, This is really going to streamline it to where you're going to connect directly with the model.
Right. So. And that's fire, because then you can actually just have direct, you know, they'll have the exact direction that they need, and they'll know exactly what they're getting into before, you know, agreeing to it or whatever. So you don't have to sit there and do any explanations or third party stuff, like you said. So that's fire. Away. Yeah. But back to the girls, man. So if someone was to be interested to try to, you know, get on your team when that gets to be a point, you know, and obviously after COVID and all that stuff, right? How would they go about doing that? Is it through the website, the app? Do they email, contact you guys directly?
Yeah, no, we'll actually have a link on the website that you'll be able to download it directly from there. You'll just be able to search it in your Google or your iPhone, whatever, THC Girls app. Just download it, and then you sign up for whatever platform you'd like to take on. Right, there'll be a more amateur platform, and then there'll be a more VIP where the girls are more advanced. Those girls that have higher tier,
more involved, basically, more involved girls. Okay,
definitely.
That's fire. So I think the question that everybody else wants to know too, and I was curious because when I was reading the website and coming up with these questions for this interview, I don't think you've ever had a male THC girl model.
It's me.
It's you. Rob, you taking claim to that?
Rob's it.
Rob is it?
I am the teacher. It's a debut right here.
All right, hey. So that's dope, because I was very curious. Like, I mean, you should have just held on to that. You should have just held on to that.
No. I mean, this is the thing, is the THC Girls is really us, me, Sanjay, and like our close group of girls that we started in the industry. It's not to say that we don't have males participating in the company. But yeah, it's the THC Girls. You know what I mean? That's the name of the company. We have actually Mario plays a huge role in my company.
Yeah, he's part of the marketing, right?
He does all the app developing, the website developing, the ads. He's killed it for me for 5 years. Yeah,
that guy.
Tight. So he's my boy. He's very much a part of the company and in space. So yeah.
Nice. Okay. Next question. Would you ever have a male model?
So I mean, as far as like addressing him as like a THC girl, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
I mean, brand awareness. You can't really have a male if it's THC.
It's just,
in my opinion.
I feel you, but I think it's just a question to ask, right? You know, you got to ask.
Who cares about political correctness?
You could have
equal opportunities.
We have tons of males that are brand ambassadors and stuff. I don't call them THC girls. I don't call them a THC girl.
If you're booking THC girls, you want a THC girl. Right?
Yeah, I mean,
I feel you. No, I do feel you.
But
I do feel you. But let's just think of it from this perspective. There is a huge market for male strippers.
Male strippers? What does that have to do with the THC girls?
So at that point, let me finish. So at that point, you could really take that same like perspective, right? Like there are parties that are female driven that maybe they do want male models. You know, maybe they wouldn't want women. You know what I mean? There's definitely those opportunities, but you've never branded. But that's a spin-off, right? And that's kind of what I was more getting into was like, have you thought of? And that was maybe the next question was expanding on the THC Girls into these different avenues or niche situations.
I mean, at the end of the day, I have guys come and work events and do things, and they still get paid. I just don't call them a THC girl. Like we're very much.
I respect that.
You know what I mean? Like
I respect that.
They're just not posted as a THC girl model. You know what I mean? But we very much so have people come participate. They're guys, and they'll do the exact same thing. They get paid the same. It's the same. It's just they're not advertised as it. You know what I mean?
You do have some THC boys then. You do. I think it's safe to say you've kind of dabbled into that space already without branding it or doing any sort of marketing on it, which might be something to think about. You know, I'm just throwing it out there.
That goes into like me rebranding my whole entire company and trying to be politically correct with certain things and this and that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, true that.
At the end of the day, it's the THC Girls. It's my company. I'm a female. It's my shit. Thanks. You know what I mean? So I don't mean to offend anybody or anything, but at the same time, I don't want to change what I have going on to, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
I get it. Yeah, but I it was just a question I felt like I wanted to ask because it's been something that I've always just kind of like wondered randomly. Like,
I mean, I've gotten asked plenty of times.
If she's ever thought about that or done it and just never did anything with it. Like maybe you did and it failed. Like, I don't know, you know? So, and I'm sure people were going to ask, like, there was going to be like some random comments or somebody who's going to be like, yo, how could I be a model? I want to be around a bunch of pretty girls all day. It's like the male cheerleader fucking situation where it's like, oh, okay, I get it. You just, you don't have to be any kind of way. You just want to be around pretty girls all day. Like that's fine. I get it. So, but yeah, moving on from that, it was, just something I thought I'd ask.
Maybe one day, maybe we'll rebrand and change one day.
What is anything that you guys would like to add additionally that you'd want the viewers to know about you, any of your employees and staff, your business, your situation? Like, what's next for THC Girls? What should they expect from you?
Shit. I mean, shit, it's been a huge learning experience, and I appreciate everyone that's really been a part of it, to be honest. Like, that's one thing that's very huge for me. It's been a learning experience left and right.
Yeah.
So that's been a huge part in my life, So, but moving forward, I feel like we're just getting started. As much as we've been through, we're really just ready to amp up now and take it a whole nother level. So I'm excited to see where Florida really takes us, and continuing to really play a part in the future of the industry is really our goal. And just help navigate it into hopefully what it will turn out to in the future when we're gone.
Facts.
So that's where we want to be.
Nice. Okay. And so obviously when this drops, it will be 2021 already. So you guys will already have embarked on your adventure to Florida and, started making your footprint there. So how can any sort of businesses or companies reach out to you guys for your services, for advice, for anything from the THC Girls?
Yeah, shoot, our website's the best resource. It has all of our contacts, my direct contact. It's thehighcountrygirls.com.
For sure. And what are your social medias?
The High Country Girls and THC Girls. The hashtag the THC Girls at the High Country Girls. The hashtag or the High Country Girls is an acronym for Colorado. So,
yep.
Back when we started, it wasn't as friendly as it is now. So we had to be a little low key. So
we'll get into that in another time. We'll get into that in another time for sure, because there's definitely some other questions and things that, I think are important things or topics to talk about as far as the transition and growth and how things, just have come from point A to point B. But I don't think they were important so much in this introduction of you, your company, and everything else that you've got going on.
Cool.
But so when we do a follow-up next time when you're in Colorado messing around or doing some business, like I said, we'll get you on the talk show aspect of this as well. And we'll do a touch-up interview. We'll touch on some other things that, I know about, and, you know what I'm talking about. We'll touch on some things and stuff and go into further depth in some other situations that I know the THC Girls have found themselves in that I just think is, important things later. But without further ado, is there any other comments from anyone at this table? We have Devaney, we have Rob, Krista.
Thanks for letting me come along and make noise. Appreciate
it. Yeah, no problem. We appreciate you tagging along and having some good commentary to add to the situation, because it's always about the people and the vibe. So it's definitely a good vibe, man. I appreciate it. What about you, my dear?
Thank you guys for having me today. Definitely very thankful to have been a part of this whole journey. So
yeah, for sure.
It's been interesting and fun. So.
Yeah, and in the next conversation too that we have with Krista, we're gonna incorporate you a lot more into that one as well, because I think some of those situations, you play a vital part in those conversations, and letting you get your point of view out, I think, is important too. So yeah, let's talk further on some of these things we've talked about in the future. I wish you guys the best, because
thanks
for having us.
Inspiring to watch you guys move. I definitely have taken a few pages out your book. I'm not even gonna sit there and flex. Like I watch, I pay attention. So thank you for being the first interview actually for HHTv.
Oh shit.
And this new situation that I'm embarking on as well.
Good luck.
So yeah, shout out to you guys, the THC Girls. And let's do this again sometime.
Love it.
Man,
all right,
thank
man.
you.
Peace out.
Thank you.